District divided. Hundreds of students walk out of class days after the district superintendent was fired. Copter 4 flew over Rock Canyon High School today, but these protests went on at high schools across the district. Good evening, I'm Michael Spencer.
And I'm Karen Lee. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Jim has the night off. The walkout follows days of disruptions in the district. Friday night, 4 of the 7 school board members voted to oust Superintendent Corey Wise. The day before, classes were canceled as some teachers rallied in support of him. Rick Soundra has been covering this for us. And Rick, not all students walked out today, but the district's still trying to get back on track.
Well, Karen, between a snow day, a teacher Sickout, and now a student walkout, it's hardly been business as usual at schools like Highlands Ranch High School. They poured out of the school and out to the streets. This is how they showed their displeasure.
All right, so we'll come back to that. Here's some quotes from the great Corey Wise. I mean, Corey Wise must be one of the best, goddamn greatest superintendent that's ever walked the face of the planet for all this commotion for Corey Wise. We are at the forefront. We are doing amazing things throughout the challenges, Corey Wise said. We got an opportunity. Challenge me. Challenge me, Corey Wise said. I like to be the underdog. Let me prove if I don't. Let me prove. And if I don't, then come have that conversation. But please don't do it over the weekend. Not over the weekend. And with the idea that the next day I have to choose to leave the district that I love, if you're going to go for calls, in which bring it. I love this district, and I believe in myself. I believe in our people, and I believe in all of you. We can do this. Give us a chance. Give me a chance. A real chance. And then Corey Wise turned to the audience. Mistakes will happen. We won't be perfect. But we will drive to be the very best that we can be because Douglas County wants to be the best district in the state. But we are going to be the best district for every single person, Corey Wise said. I love you all. I love you all to our community, whether you know them or don't. Whether you like me or you don't. I promise. I promise you I will fight with you. Corey Wise ended his speech saying, I love you all. I value you. I believe in Douglas County and I believe in what we can become. He was met by a standing ovation from the audience, members in attendance. Mike Peterson said later he did not intend to remove the superintendent or force his resignation behind closed doors. During the meeting, Peterson said he lost trust in Wise and his leadership, and then that sentiment was echoed by Williams. Douglas County Federation of Teachers Union released a statement Saturday condemning the actions taken by the board. Last night, Superintendent Corey Wise, on a vote 4-3, was terminated without cause. I think this whole situation is probably over. Corey Wise has been fired. They're talking about a petition. Oh, they got 20,000 signatures online. None of that's legal. So how many legal signatures do they have? And let's assume they get the petition to recall, the school board officials. Elections happen every 4 years. So I guess, you could wait 3 more years or, push for the recall. My guess is they won't get any signatures. They haven't started the damn campaign whatsoever. They just threw something up online and, they're getting signatures not just out of the district, but all around the world. So it's, the internet. And then the other possibility is that there's an open meetings clause that they had, So let's, assume the very best case for that is, let's assume that lawsuit that the open meetings... They got an open meetings clause and, the process was incorrect. And it leads to the possibility that Corey Wise could be reinstated, but then he would just be fired right away. Corey Wise is going to get paid to do nothing for a year. He's getting paid the 6 fucking figures, $100,000 to just sit at his house. Who the fuck is this great Corey Wise that, the teachers have done a Sickout and the students are doing a walkout. Who is this great Corey Wise? He's only a man, isn't he? Isn't he only a man?
Pleasure with the school board action and its president, Mike Peterson.
I feel like all of us, as you can tell, who are here, think this is a big problem in the issue and want to be supporting what's going on for our teachers.
Last week, many teachers called in sick and marched in front of the district headquarters. That did not stop the new conservative majority from firing the superintendent, Corey Wise. While the students walked out, not all parents were in support. Amity Wicks supports the board action in firing the superintendent. She has 2 Douglas County students.
I've seen many Facebook posts sending out directing how to do this, what kids should do, signs that they should make. I mean, it's very adult driven.
This post gave talking points and instructions for the students on what to put on posters.
This was absolutely organized by all of the students. I started it. I'm the student here. There was no teacher involvement. There was some parent involvement, but it was mostly students who started this.
The high school walkout here grew with support from Crest Hill Middle School next door. An early course in how to stage a student demonstration and how not to do it in the middle of the street. The school board president, Mike Peterson, issued a statement calling this a difficult time for the community. And he said he is committed to restoring peace and unity and focus on the education of the children. Live in Highlands Ranch, Rick Salinger, covering Colorado.
I like that Rick Salinger for some reason. He just, I don't know if he totally gets what the heck he's reporting on, but he's like, hey, this guy said this thing and this guy said that thing. All right, so a little bit of commentary about what's going on. It doesn't seem like the lawsuit, even if the lawsuit goes through and they violated open meetings, is he going to come back and will they still fire him? I don't know. What I think what the lawsuit will do is it'll make the current school board a little bit more robust. And, I guess they could overturn the decision, but are you allowed to do a walking quorum? I don't know if that's what they were trying to do is a walking quorum. You're allowed to talk. I guess work sessions are where you're supposed to brainstorm. Hey, you can't brainstorm outside of a work session. It must be public. I understand the whole idea of a sunshine law, but you could go a little bit too far, too. It's like, okay, when did you think of the idea? Oh, you thought of the idea on Saturday night, and then did you write it down? Did you post it on Facebook? And then somebody else read it on Facebook? Well, that's a quorum. 2 people read it on Facebook, and that's a quorum. So I think it could go too far, but I think ultimately they're going to evolve and they'll just get better. Essentially just talk about, like I said, brainstorm in work sessions. Here, I brainstorm some ideas. Work session, what do you think about these ideas? So just a brainstorming session in the very beginning that's public, that everybody can come to and everybody can. So, I don't know how this Corey Wise, I don't know if it's his last name in it. It's those $5,000 suits. It's that stone cold Steve Austin bald head of his, isn't it? It's a $5,000 tailor-made suit. Come on now. That's Arrested Development. So, my K through 12 scholastic career, right? I did public education. Let's see, kindergarten, first grade, second grade, third grade. I guess all of it was Kentucky. Some was Grant County. Third grade and 5th, 6th, 7th grade was Grant County. The rest is Gallatin County. And then 1 year was Florida. I want to say that was third grade too. Third grade, I was in 3 different schools. So they've been 1990. Hey, guys. It's all right. So anyways, I went to public school in America, and, these damn teachers, they suck. I don't like any of the damn teachers. I think Mr. Heim in 8th grade. There was one good teacher out of all them. Miss Nash, I guess, Miss Kennedy. Okay, so I didn't hardly, I didn't like most of the teachers, let alone the principal. I didn't get who the fuck is a principal. And then a superintendent. I've actually never saw a superintendent in my day-to-day at school. Where the hell's that superintendent? He's never around. He didn't do shit. But my point is that public schools have a very strict hierarchy. They have a very strict hierarchy. So you have a totalitarian system where they're not just controlling your behavior, but controlling your mind. Very strict hierarchy, right? The superintendent over the principal, over the teachers, over the bus drivers, over the lunch ladies, over the students. So in the totem pole, the students are on the bottom. When we're Americans, we should be on the top. Like a Sudbury or a Summerhill education. That's what, you want to walk out. Once you walk out, that's great for solidarity. You're having a sick out for a fucking superintendent, a motherfucker making six figures. Yeah, Corey Wise had a 26-year career. He's going to be okay. He had a 26-year career in Douglas County. He could be a superintendent somewhere else. And he's only got, one or two more chances. So make sure you don't, get embroiled into a huge controversy. But it's this COVID shit, right? So he was all about mask, and the conservatives were all against the mask. And eventually, they worked it out, or they didn't work it out. Maybe Corey Wise, he got picked to be superintendent. He's like, I'm the fucking boss, and nobody can tell me what to do. But the whole idea of the board is like a CEO. You got the board of directors and the CEO. It's the same, same shit. The main thing that the board of directors for a company, what they do is they hire and fire the CEO. And that's what a superintendent is. A superintendent is the CEO. So the main point of the school board is to pick the good superintendent, to hire and fire the superintendent. So the school board, that's what democracy looks like. They are the elected officials. They're the ones that went out and got the votes from the people. They're the most popular. They got the votes from the people, and they're the ones that's in charge. And so, because when they hire a superintendent, that superintendent, is the fucking, the emperor, is the dictator, is the fascist in chief. And once the fascist in chief, once the CEO, superintendent has been hired, then the school board is kind of pushed to the back burner because it's all eyes on the superintendent. The board picks a leader, they go to the back burner, and then that leader leads. That leader leads until the board says, you know what, we don't like you, and then they pick a different leader. That's another thing. They fired him without having somebody else in mind. I feel like they got somebody else in mind. So I can't stand the Douglas County, these conservative fucking pieces of shit. COVID is fucking insane, but they're like against critical race theory, and they're against the mask, and they're against a whole bunch of shit. I don't like their politics. They sound like a bunch of Trumpers, a bunch of Donald Trump pieces of shit. So, I mean, there's Jordan Peterson. There's a, respectable conservative. Jordan Peterson is a respectable conservative. So I don't know if these assholes are still stuck on that lying fucking plutocrat, but Jordan Peterson would be a better direction for a conservative to go. But I'm proud of Douglas County, the school board. I'm proud that they stood up to the pressure. They didn't do the public meeting. Really, it all comes down to having fair public meetings. Is that what it has to do with Corey Wise? It has to do with they're conservatives. They won the damn election, and they are making decisions that the rest of, that Corey Wise, I guess he's on the opposite side, right? So you got the Democrat, mask, mandate, vaccine, person, superintendent versus the, Trumper. And actually, Trump was all about the vaccine, wasn't he? But public education is terrible until public schools guarantee freedom and democracy as a cornerstone staple. Freedom, you can't be a person. You can't be an authentic person without freedom. That's an absolute indispensable condition for being fully human in democracy is just, freedom at large, macro freedom. We're Americans. We have a ton of freedoms in the we need to know how to be Americans. So my children are going to go to a Sudbury, Summerhill, a freedom and democracy kind of school. So that would be a reason to have a Sickout. That would be a reason to have a walkout. You want some solidarity? Why don't you fight for freedom and democracy? Why don't you go ahead and develop your own curriculum, choose your own classes? My God, we're allowed to sign up, to go to war at 18, but we just had to raise our hand to go to the bathroom not a week prior. So the school board are the elected representatives. The superintendent is hired, chosen by the board, at will employment at the pleasure of the board. They did what they're supposed to do. The teachers are the mini dictators of the classroom. The principals are the dictators of the schools, and the superintendents are the dictators of the district. But guess what? There's actually something higher than a superintendent, and that's the school board. So even though it's a bunch of Trumpers leading the brigade, I ain't mad at them. They're anti-CRT. Fuck them on that shit. Y'all need to be against racism. It's a racist society. You need to be against racism. And, how are you going to teach the 1940s and the 1950s and the 1960s without some kind of critical race theory? So I feel like this is too much sycophanting. The teachers are sicking out. The students are walking out over a superintendent. That's Stockholm Syndrome 101. Maybe he was cool. Maybe he was charismatic. He seems like, pretty okay guy. He ain't no Abraham Lincoln. He ain't no goddamn Franklin Delano Roosevelt. So the students in Douglas County, they should walk out for a Sudbury model education, for a Summerhill education, to be treated like the young American adults that they are. To walk out for solidarity. Solidarity is one of the most important virtues we got. Love, friendship, peace, freedom, justice. So Mike Peterson, Becky Myers, and Kaylee Vinegar, and Christy Williams, they said, go to hell, Corey Wise. You go to hell. You go to hell and you eat shit. You eat shit and go to hell, motherfucker. His firing is opposed by 3 other board members, Susan Meek, David Ray, and Elizabeth Hanson, who said they were left out of conversations ahead of Friday. So he's going to get fired without cause. He had a 26 career. He was a teacher there. 26 career, fired without cause. There's been 3 superintendents in a span of just a couple of years. So if, the students want to keep on pushing forward for this change, because we're seeing a lot of changes with the King Supers, they fucking folded, right? King Supers folded. And in a way, everybody's going to fold on Corey Wise too. He's getting paid for the year to sit around not to do shit. He could take his experience to any other district in the entire country and he'll be all right. But I think the students, if you want to walk out, or the teachers, why don't you pick a Quasimodo? Pick the poorest, most competent student to represent all of you. Who is going to be the brand new superintendent? Some fucking asshole from Florida? Who are they going to hire to be a brand new superintendent? Is it going to be a local person? Nah, they need to pick a local person. It's going to be somebody from goddamn Washington or some shit. What the Douglas County Schools should pick a Quasimodo. Pick the poorest, most competent student to lead the rest of them. I don't want a superintendent who's going to be the best, oppressor, who can oppress the best. Oh man, his fascism is top notch. The best superintendents are the ones who can inspire dozens and dozens of other superintendents. I want the superintendent who creates superintendents. I want the leader who creates leaders, not followers. I want my children to be strong, not weak and dumb and obedient, but the one who's leading the packer is able to lead the pack. In some respects, we're all gods. We're all superintendents already. And so I want my child to become the superintendent. If not, to become or to be the superintendent, not to be oppressed by arbitrary hierarchy. So, yeah, that's the kind of superintendent I want. The one that creates other superintendents. The one that says, I'm not here to, rule over the rest of you, but I'm here to liberate you. I want the superintendent that says to the slaves in antebellum America, come on, guys, let's get our guns. Stand up, get some freedom. Or, the American Revolution, the Civil War, the World War II, or Civil Rights Movement, or whatever. So there you go. There's my 2 cents on the whole Douglas County debacle. Did I look short the whole time?